What's up? It's your boy Modern Ninja the Nerd, and the anime of the week for today is Higurashi. Now, Higurashi holds a special place in my heart because a special person showed me the original anime that aired back in 2006. Now, at some point I will cover the rest of these, but today I will cover the first season only. Now, like most of my videos, this will contain Higurashi spoilers for the manga and or anime. If you don't want this to be spoiled, like this and save this for later, you have been warned. Now play my intro real quick.
The monsters. Hold on, wait a minute, let me get a key rising when I'm ventilating, demonstrating, captivating, assimilated. When you niggas singing, saying I'm the fucking best. Better get your best, nigga, color me impressed. Swear to you blessed, all up in your chest. Kill you with my sword, guess I gotta clean my mess. The fact that you niggas see me playing, it's only natural, I'm super just saying.
Now, I absolutely love the person who put me on this because never have I ever seen a story told in such a way. A repeat of the same story with different endings and many viewpoints on each event that all in all becomes its own story is brilliant to say the least. I've never expected one story to have so many layers and keep me interested the whole time. With that said, let's get into what happened the first season. Higurashi begins in the summer of 1983 with the arrival of hot-headed teenager Keiichi Mabara to the small peaceful village of Hinamizara. Please excuse me, I'm butchering these words. Life is ordinary for Keiichi and his friends, Rina, Satoko, the twins Shion and Mion, and Rika. They hang out after school and play games to entertain themselves in the mundane little town. All seems perfectly fine until Keiichi starts to investigate a series of mysterious disappearances. It isn't long before things start to go very bad and the blackest secrets of the seemingly quiet town unravel themselves into a maze of dark mystery with a lethal outcome. The setup is standard for anime. However, the story of Higurashi takes an interesting twist. The show is split up into several arcs or chapters, at the end of which the story is reset. The village returns to its peaceful state and our young cast of characters are seemingly back to normal. This disturbing Groundhog Day repetition makes for a unique spin on classic horror. Watching a character die gruesomely, I might add, only to reappear in the next episode without a scratch? It's a unique experience to say the least. Each chapter in the show is told from a different perspective or time. The same events can happen in each chapter, but the outcome may be completely different. Despite these variations, each chapter plays out in a similar fashion, starting out relatively lighthearted and upbeat, with Keiichi and the others having fun and going to school. The turning point in each chapter comes during the Cotton Drifting Festival, an annual event held in the village. It's during the festival that two people disappear, and a mysterious entity known as Oyashiro-sama is said to deliver a curse, at which point all hell breaks loose. Characters become paranoid, driving them to murder, psychosis, and their eventual deaths. The tension is thick in Higurashi, bleeding into everything from the pacing to the often uncomfortable, bright visuals. The show has a tendency to turn a mundane, seemingly innocuous conversation to an intense moment of anxiety. One little offhand comment can immediately change the tone of the entire episode. It also doesn't help that even the most trivial of events, like a single pat on the head, can set a character off, and every panic-fueled hysteria or mental break has a chance to result in the deaths of many people. The animation quality is kinda weird too, with a simplistic design that seems really out of place with the tone of the darker scenes. And it's hard to imagine that this contrast wasn't intentional. And of course, the constant buzzing of the cicadas in the background is little to help alleviate the uncomfortable atmosphere of the show. With this somewhat perplexing story told from different perspectives and times, it can be difficult to piece together the puzzle of Higurashi. At least for me. For the most part, the short chapters are their own self-contained stories with only bite-sized pieces of information weaved in to hint at a greater story taking place. The very town of Hinamizara is a twilight zone existing very much within itself. The village school consists of one classroom with multiple grades being taught by only one teacher. Almost everyone knows each other by name or their family, and hardly anyone visits or leaves the village. This weird setting gives the impression that something greater is going on, that some ominous force, demonic or otherwise, is pulling the strings, which may very well be the case. The show is deceptive, concealing the truth behind layers and layers of mystery. It's possible to reach the end of the series with no definitive conclusion about what's causing these events to take place, at least in the first season. That's okay though, because not knowing the truth is good horror. Of course, Higurashi has its share of disturbing and graphic scenes to really drive home the fact that it's a horror story. It spares no expense in showing every last gruesome, pulpy detail. What's even more unsettling is the detached, offbeat manner in which it presents these scenes. It's sadistic and over the top, often panning in on the carnage in a wild fashion. It's like a twisted, shameless celebration of violence, and the show seems to be fully aware of how depraved that enjoyment is. Where the show really gets terrifying isn't in the horrific gore, but the psychological torment of the protagonists and the tragic mistakes they make out of fear. As stated before, some characters will focus on the same story but from a different perspective, like the eye-opening chapter, which is the same as the cotton drifting chapter, but from Shion's perspective. Each character carries their own fears, and those fears are tested when the tension ramps up. Keiichi is naive and determined, but he's also suspicious and prone to breaking down if he thinks his life's in danger. Similarly in both Shion and Rina's chapters, fear and mistrust replaces honesty and loyalty. Keiichi and Rina both see their deepest fears manifested when they begin to delve into the mysteries of the town, leading them to see things that aren't really there. This can make the characters' perspectives unreliable. It also drives home an interesting question. Are their fates being manipulated by unseen forces? Or are they themselves the catalyst of their own destruction? Higurashi does what psychological horror does best. It plays off the character's mental pain and creates an unsettling atmosphere where just enough little things are off to make the whole experience feel terrifying. With its complex cast of characters and critical tone, it questions the rationality of fear and explores the fragile nature of trust. While the ending can be a bit disappointing for some people, myself included, hoping to uncover the mystery of its plot, the remarkable pacing and mysterious atmosphere makes for a chilling experience that delivers as many shudders as it does questions. All in all, Season 1, I give it a 9 out of 10. Definitely top tier anime for horror anime lovers, thriller and suspense lovers. This will be it for this video though. I will definitely cover the next season and newer seasons in later videos. I almost forgot, if you like this video, share this with your friends to see if they might like it, or maybe you might be interested in watching Higurashi yourself. That was my goal. Introduce you guys to new anime so you can watch it. That's why I do anime of the weeks. But anyway, like I said, if you like this, comment what you liked about it, subscribe, do what cool ninjas do. But in that case, I will see you in the next arc. Peace.